Hey guys, welcome back. Joy here. This week we are diving into Lightroom together. I've gotten some questions about how I edit and how to get consistent photographs. I've just gotten a lot of questions about my style, and I thought it'd be fun to walk you guys through how I edit a challenging, underexposed, and unideal image to look fine art and light and airy and romantic. So I think that it's super easy to get images to look beautiful and glowing and soft when the conditions were perfect, but real life means that sometimes we're inside and sometimes we're not able to get a sunset with a beautiful floral background. So I want to help you guys out by showing you my process for editing images that maybe were not my most ideal images when I took them, but I still want to deliver them. I still think they're beautiful, and I know my clients are going to love them. So before I go ahead and dive into the edit, I just want to explain to you some of the conditions that we were in for this particular day. So the weather was just insane. We were outside and it was sunny, and within a matter of minutes, it was freezing cold, super, super windy and dark. And it started raining. It was insane. So we retreated indoors and we wanted to go to this grand staircase, but there was actually another wedding taking place at the exact same time. So that just gives you guys a little bit of an idea of some of the unideal conditions that we were dealing with. My gorgeous couple here just rolled with the punches. They were incredible and they just went with it. So for this particular image, I was really looking for some beautiful architectural elements. I loved these arch pathways that were going through this hallway connecting these rooms. I love these columns in the corner, some of the lights. I just felt that it had some really strong details. So that's what attracted me to this corner of the room. So the first thing I'm going to do when I go ahead and edit this image, and I've already cropped this image here, let me show you really quick. This is what the image looks like originally. And this is the crop that I settled with. And what I'm doing is I'm actually making this black line at the bottom my horizon line. And I pulled the frame up. So you kind of had to decide, is it going to be up here or is it going to be down here? So I pulled it up because I wanted more of this arch to be up here. I really like the shape this creates. I feel it really guides your eyes towards the couple and gives a great depth to the photograph. So once you're happy with your crop, you're going to hit enter. And I'm going to go ahead and move right now into the basic edits that I would do on this image. So the first thing that I would do is go ahead and increase exposure. That looks about right. So I'm adding an entire stop, which might sound crazy to some people, but I want this image to be bright and glowing and happy, just like this couple is, and not so much dark hallway with yellow tungsten lighting. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and apply my film preset. This preset is just a tweaked preset based on some things that I have purchased over the years, and I really just made it my own. So I'm going to play around just a little bit with my white balance here. So I went ahead and I adjusted this white balance just a little bit. I played around and I'm settling right around 2900. Yeah, let me go ahead and just type that in. Sometimes it's a little finicky with the sliders, so I just type in exactly what I want. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and increase the contrast a little bit. I feel like we're losing some of these sharper points. Okay, so I'm settling there. I like that a lot. We're going to pull these highlights down a little bit. Since we had to pull the exposure up a lot, I feel that we need to just soften those highlights just a little bit, get them back to where we want. Now with the shadows, pulling them down. Let's go ahead. Yeah, that looks great. Next, I'm going to go into the white slider, and I'm just going to pull that down a little bit. We settled at -41 there. Really, you're just going to have to play around with these and just see what looks good. And the thing about Lightroom is that it's a non-destructive editing software. So you can go down, you can see what that looks like. You can go all the way up, you can see what that looks like. And you haven't degraded any of the image quality. So that's the one great thing. Just play, just start to get comfortable on the platform, and don't really worry that you might ruin, your image in any way, because that's not at all how it works. Okay, let's stop around 80. I like that. So I like to warm the highlights. I think that looks really great. I'm gonna just stay there. In our details, I think I wanna go in and try and remove some of this noise. So because if you can see up here in the right-hand corner, my ISO was 2000. I'm shooting on the 50mm lens at aperture 2.0 at 160th of a second. So letting in tons of light with a fairly wide aperture at a fairly low shutter speed, and we still were getting a dark image. So now you can kind of see how it really was truly very dark in this corner. So what I want to do next is pull down some of the noise. So as you can see, the image itself has a lot of noise going on, and normally I would go ahead and add some grain, but for this particular image, I feel that I want to go ahead and go in and just reduce the noise. So I'm going to start at 16 or 17. And I think when I zoom back out, I'm happy with the noise. So I'm not really super against noise, but I just want to make sure it doesn't look too grainy. Okay, so we've straightened our image, we've gotten the exposure where we want it, the white balance where we want it. The next thing that I really want to do is take the brush tool and address some of this warmer tones on these sides. I think it's pretty distracting. I'm not a huge fan of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and cool this brush down a little bit. The saturation's already down. I like that a lot. I don't care so much about the highlight. Maybe pull the shadows up a little bit. Flow looks good, feather looks good. With the brush, guys, it's really just trial and error. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna kind of paint this on. And you'll start to see this saturated kind of like yellowy, like warmy color gets pulled out of the image because I think it's distracting. I would rather have my couple's skin tones be warmer and not the building itself. Awesome. All right, guys, so once you're happy with that, so I'm gonna turn it off. You can see the yellow. Turning it back on, and that has reduced it. Like, how crazy is that? It just looks like the light was more natural because it has that yellow pulled out of it, because that yellow is telltale artificial lighting, and we all kind of know, you can tell when you see it that it wasn't the best light. So that's something that I really like to kind of sneak in there and get rid of. Okay. So I'm happy with this brush. I'm going to close it. All right, so the next thing I want to do is pull out just a little bit of these oranges and yellows from what we're seeing in their skin tone. So I'm going to go ahead and pull down the saturation just a little bit on both the orange and the yellow. And right away, you can see that it feels more truly white balanced, if you will. So I like that a lot. That's gorgeous. So this is pretty much where I would finish up. I really like this edit. I feel like it's brighter, it's creamier, it has a more romantic look. I can show you guys a before and after. All right, so here we go. This really shows how we've pulled the yellow. If you look particularly in the side areas, this part of this original image was so yellow, so saturated, and now I feel like my eye immediately goes to my couple. I'm immediately drawn to their smiles, to her gown. I'm looking at this beautiful architecture, but not in a distracting way. I feel that it complements her, and so this image is done. I'm happy with it, and I would go ahead and export it at this point and move on to the next image. So I hope that this was useful for you guys to see a little behind the scenes of how I process my imagery. Let me know if you guys have questions. I would be happy to answer them. Give this video a thumbs up if you learned anything, and be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on future videos. All right, I'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.